Jungkook's hat is not just an accessory. Behind her thin smile, captured on camera, lies a puzzle full of wounds. Why exactly that simple hat is now sparking a storm of controversy? Is Jungkook really being sarcastic towards HYBE's management? Or is this the silent scream of an idol who has been silent for too long? The portrait from Incheon Airport has now turned into the hottest evidence that shocked the army and divided world opinion. But is it all about the hat? Controversy heats up. Jungkook's hat is accused of being a form of satire against HYBE's management. Have you ever felt that something that looks small turns out to hold a very big meaning? And have you ever looked at a photograph, just a glance, and suddenly your heart trembled, as if you were reading a hidden cue from someone who could not speak directly to you? That's what millions of ARMY felt when Jungkook showed up at Incheon Airport, not with a song, not with a press statement, but simply with a hat. The question now resonates louder than the cheers of a concert. Is Jungkook sending a message? And if so, message to whom? It happened so fast, it hit like an earthquake. Jungkook, who is known for his public expressions and gestures, was seen at the airport with an unusual aura. Not because of his destination to the United States for a personal schedule, nor because of the comeback rumors that HYBE has not yet clarified, but because of one small element that has suddenly become the center of the world. The hat. The hat is black. Polos. But on the front, a familiar symbol is embedded. Not the logo of a famous brand, not the BTS emblem, but a vague inscription that can only be read if observed from a certain angle. I'm not your puppet. That sentence made the blood of the fans rustle. These words are not found in the official catalog of hats from any brand. So wild speculation arose. Did Jungkook specifically order the hat? If so, why? And even more electrifying, why would she wear it in public when she knows the cameras will be watching her every step of the way? The situation escalated when footage from the check-in process showed Jungkook looking down for a long time after handing over his luggage. Airport procedures do require passengers to wait 5 minutes after the check-in process to ensure their baggage passes the scan. But Jungkook's expression, which looked distant, empty, and heavy as if he were holding something, served as additional fuel for the notion that this was no ordinary trip. That 5-minute moment of pause to compose courage. Did Jungkook know that at that moment, the camera was looking at him from all directions? Or did he just deliberately put himself in that position to make sure the message from his hat was clearly read by anyone who was sensitive enough? Less than an hour after the photos from the airport went viral, the hashtag Jungkook Not Your Puppet was trending in more than 25 countries. The army is divided. Some consider it a form of art and self-expression. Others worry about Jungkook's condition. Many have speculated that this is a strong allusion to pressure from HYBE's management, especially since news of the sudden change in comeback schedule, ban on interacting freely on social media, and restrictions on solo activities. However, HYBE, as always, was silent in silence, too quiet to be suspicious. Is this silence a form of narrative control? Or are they too scared to respond? To make it all the more mysterious after the incident, Jungkook gave no updates at all. No uploads, no live, no interaction. Even his Weverse account showed no activity since the previous 2 days. In fact, usually Jungkook is a figure who likes to greet fans, even through trivial things. He being given forced rest? It wasn't just the army that began to question. The Korean media eventually raised the issue, albeit cautiously. Some senior journalists said that idols who choose silence often speak through symbols. And in a K-pop world full of censorship and exclusive contracts, a hat can be the sharpest weapon. Not stopping there, an anonymous stylist who claimed to have worked with the BTS team revealed in a closed forum that Jungkook does have a habit of inserting personal meanings through outfits. He called Jungkook's clothing selection very camera-conscious. And if it is true that the hat is no coincidence, then we are witnessing one of the most subtly veiled forms of rebellion in the history of the Korean entertainment industry. However, is it just about HYBE? Some observers believe that the message, "I'm not your puppet," can refer to many parties: the global music industry, the media that often twists the narrative, even the public that is too demanding. But of all the possibilities, one question still stands out. Why now? Why in the midst of rumors of a full-fledged group comeback, at a time when rumors of internal conflicts are getting stronger, and when fans are pinning high hopes on solo projects, Jungkook chose this way. Is he fed up? Or is he making a bigger and bolder move? Some say that this is a signal that Jungkook is preparing to get out of HYBE's control, following in the footsteps of several senior artists who formed their own labels. Some argue that this is just a symbolic act to show that he still has a voice. But when it comes to Jungkook, nothing is merely symbolic. Some fans have closely linked the hat to Jungkook's last appearance at a previous digital concert. In one of his solo songs, he sang a lyric that seemed very personal. Even when I smile, it's not always real. Now, the lyrics seem to be coming back to life. It seems to be a prologue that we are not aware of towards the day when the black hat becomes the headline of the world. However, the surprises did not stop there. After the airport incident, one of the biggest international fanbase accounts received a DM from an anonymous source saying, "He can't talk right now, but he tried. Look carefully." The DM is now another piece of evidence that what looks ordinary can hold layers of deep, sharp, and cutting meaning. If this is true, then the world may be witnessing its quietest form of resistance and most painful. Jungkook, who has been known to be loyal, full of hard work, and always smiling in front of the camera, now chooses silence as a form of shouting. And in that silence, the black hat became a megaphone that shook. Is this the beginning of the split between Jungkook and HYBE? Or is this the beginning of freedom? Right now, all eyes are on the next step. But one thing is certain, the world will never again see hats in the same way. Not after Jungkook wears it. And do you still think this is just a hat? But why does it all start with a hat? And why does Jungkook's face look like he can't lie? If it is true that this is just a coincidence, why is the resonance so great? Isn't this just revealing something that has been kept tightly behind the scenes of their glamorous world? Jungkook is no ordinary idol. It is someone who is formed from wounds, hard work, sacrifice, and stress since adolescence. In his teens, he was already asked to become a world star, to be an example, to be an industrial machine. However, from behind the glittering stage, Jungkook, often referred to as the Golden Magne, shouldered a heavier burden than anyone could have imagined. So when he appears in public with a seemingly trivial symbol, it's not because he wants attention. It's probably because he's running out of other ways to speak. Several soldiers who have followed Jungkook's journey since his debut attribute this moment to previous incidents. One of them was when he was suddenly absent from the live broadcast of Weverse after announcing a solo project. There is no official explanation. Only silence is the answer. Has there been any pressure since then? Is he not allowed to continue with the plan he has built himself? And is this hat a form of assertion that it refuses to be a puppet of the system that shaped it? A Korean fan wrote in an online community with great emotion, "We are proud of all of Jungkook's achievements. But if all this time he was forced to be silent, if all this time his smile was a shield from frustration, then we will listen to him even if only through a hat." These words were a representation of the feelings of thousands of other soldiers who felt that something was happening, but no one could express it honestly, except Jungkook himself, or the symbols he dares to display. Shortly after Incheon Airport became the center of attention because of the photos, some of Jungkook's old posts went viral again. One of them is an old picture showing his hat rack. Of the many hats, not a single one bore such a message. Even some stylists who have been involved with BTS stated that Jungkook is very picky about hats. She only wears what really matters to her. So, the question again hangs, and it feels even more piercing. If the message is not for us, then for whom? Many fans theorize that the innuendo was not just to HYBE as a management, but also to the K-pop system itself, which put too much pressure on idols with unreasonable demands. Maybe that's why Jungkook didn't speak directly, because he knew that if he spoke, the world would shake too hard. So he chose something that could not be silenced, a symbol, and if it was really about HYBE, then they should have realized how big the consequences are. For a long time, the public questioned how management treated their artists. Some ex-trainees even divulged a cruel training system, Too strict control and demands to always be perfect without gaps. Now, when Jungkook, who is known to be very loyal and secretive, suddenly wears a hat that says, "I'm not your puppet," this is not just a reprimand. This is a very loud siren of danger. One thing that made it all the more astonishing was when Jin, the oldest member of BTS, who had just completed his Melita. But could HYBE really keep quiet? Until when will management pretend that this storm is just a breeze that will soon pass? Amid a wave of hashtags, fan theories, and silent gestures from members, the K-pop world is faced with one big question. Is this the beginning of idol resistance to an industry that raises, but also shackles, them? The international media began to dig in. Entertainment portals from Japan, America, to France could not help but discuss the silent rebellion of the Golden Magne. Titles like "Jungkook sends a message without speaking" or "HYBE under fire. Is Jungkook breaking free?" began to decorate the main page. However, the most astonishing came precisely from one of the most famous columnists of music in America, who wrote in his essay, "Jungkook is not just an idol. It's a symbol. If it is true that this is an allusion to management, then he is not burning bridges. He is creating a new path." And indeed, questions about the future are now beginning to be whispered among Korean music watchers. Is Jungkook preparing his own label? Some speculations reinforce this conjecture. One of them is the fact that since his last solo album project, Jungkook began working with independent producers who are not entirely from within HYBE's sphere. In fact, some creative decision-making was reportedly done personally by Jungkook without full approval from management. If this is true, then the hat is not just a message, but a declaration. And the declaration was delivered in the most emotional way, through silence, through symbols, and through constancy. A former HYBE staffer, who asked to remain anonymous, gave a shocking testimony in a private community that later spread. It's not just Jungkook who feels controlled. Many artists start out uncomfortable, but Jungkook is the most influential. If he moves, everything can change. This statement made the ARMY even more convinced that what Jungkook did at the airport was not an impulsive act, but a carefully planned move. However, on the other hand, concerns also arise. If it is true that this is a form of rebellion, what will happen to Jungkook? Will it get back pressure? Will it be subtly frozen, as it once was for other artists under large agencies? And more than that, how is Jungkook's relationship with the other BTS members after this? Fans began to look for clues. V, or Taeil, did not upload anything for 3 days after the hat incident. Before that, he was quite active on social media. RM, who usually delivered his thoughts honestly and poetically, was also suddenly silent. Even Suga, who was notoriously sharp and outspoken, didn't show up at all. This collective silence makes speculation even wilder. Did the members know about the hat's message? Do they feel the tension between Jungkook and HYBE? Or are they preparing something together? In the history of BTS, not once did they appear divided. They always seem solid, support each other, and display honest warmth. But since all began to undergo solo activities, the seeds of distance began to be felt. Not a split, but there was a pause. There's room. And it was in that space, amid uncertainty, ambition, and pressure, that Jungkook's hat came carrying a voice that could not be silenced. Even more emotional, though, is how fans began to perform acts of solidarity. In various countries, several large fan bases held silent protests by uploading photos of them wearing black hats that read, "Not your puppet." This movement developed so quickly that it became a social trend. Some even reprinted Jungkook's hat design as a form of silent support, a reflection that whatever Jungkook's intentions, he has touched the deepest part of his fans' hearts. But behind all this, there are still questions hanging. If Jungkook was speaking, what would he say? And to whom? Is there someone behind HYBE's scenes that she trusted, but now feels betrayed? Is it about personal conflict? About the cancellation of a decision that he had been building for a long time? Or about feeling isolated, even from the members themselves? Some fans quoted snippets of lyrics from Jungkook's previous solo songs, such as "My Time" and "Still With You," which now feel like they have a different meaning. As if those songs were early signs. As if he had long felt like a sold product, not a grown man. And if so, Why did nothing prevent him from falling? One of the most emotional theories came from a longtime fan who wrote bitterly, Jungkook has been silent for too long. Maybe because he wanted to protect others. But when the people we protect no longer care, then we will begin to protect